elusive and foreign to me is life outside of the hood. The idea of menstruation, sex, and pregnancy was a trio that generated mixed feelings of disgust and curiosity. The eruptions of giggles from my female classmates often masking their own oblivions and fear of the unknown. My body was changing with a rapidity my mind couldn't match. My chest once flat and uninteresting, seemingly overnight began to blossom. Hair began to grow in places I could never imagine. Dressing in front of other females caused shame. I often sought refuge in the privacy of shower stalls. I didn't fully grasp what was happening, but understood these changes were an inevitability that I would not be able to avoid. My mother fielded my questions about these changes with rolled eyes and a dismissive sucking of teeth. She didn't have time, or perhaps simply did not know. She was a hard-working woman, often bound by double shifts and aching feet. Only 14 years separated us. A continuation of the legacy of ignorance passed down from her mother's mother to her to me. I was her only child. She determined after my birth that single parenthood was an undesirable position to be in, so it was just we. A young single mother and a lifetime member of the Latchkey Nation, naive and optimistic. Barbie dolls and fairy tale lands filled the empty void of my young existence. A fondness for happily ever afters and the world of make-believes filled my days and nights of loneliness. Never knew my father. Never even knew his real name. However, during one of her alcoholic-induced rants, she would often mention the sorry-ass bastard, and I can only assume that she was talking about him. Miss Jones, who lived below us, would beat on the ceiling in broomstick annoyance. The verbal welfare between the two would often generate visits from JSO. My mother would explain to them, crying and cussing at the same time about her dilemma. She was torn, dealing with the conflicted feelings a woman in her situation faces when you love and hate a man at the same time. I didn't understand, just knew that she was a blueprint of my life, of what my life as a Black woman would eventually become. After the effects of alcohol had sent her to sleep, I would watch her, felt pity for her and anger at the men she said I resembled whenever I smiled. Her brows furrowed anxiously, even though her dream should have been the one place she could escape her unhappiness. Then the summer I turned 14, she met Bone. A thug and a bully. His money acquired by illegal means, his notorious reputation preceded him like the stench of garbage before the truck appears. She fell for him hard and fast, guard slipping along with values and conscience. She believed his offerings of gift and money were a godsend, although in truth she was selling her soul to the devil, literally. And she never questioned his unusual interest in me, his request to spend time with me and not invite her, his inappropriate observations of my ever-evolving body, the pendulum like switches in my mood, sad to angry to depressed. Never asked me why I protested her decision to accept his marriage proposal. I take that back. She did question me, but her queries were more of the rhetorical sort, like, what the hell is wrong with you? She never waited for my response, took to the use of belts and fists to restrain my abstinence, my attitude viewed as rebellious and ungracious, and he would often encourage, even instigate these incidents, excuse me. He would often encourage, even instigate these incidents. He would often encourage, even instigate these incidences of disloyalty from my mother. It didn't make sense. Why would she form alliances with him? I was the one who had been there to clean up her vomit after her alcoholic binges, the one to tend to household duties when she was too hungover to handle it, the one who made excuses for her when the landlord called asking for the rent when I knew the money had been bombarded for a bottle of Jack Daniels, and I did it because I wanted to protect her. She was my mother and I loved her, wanted to be the one who she could depend on since everyone else had dropped the ball and abandoned her, so was it too much to ask for her to reciprocate? Besides, without any admissions from me, she should have known. I mean, didn't she hear my silent screams of don't go when she left me alone? Couldn't she tell in my eyes the pain that I was feeling after one of his episodes? Didn't she take notice of his darting eyes and anxious licking of lips whenever I say, Ma, I need to talk to you? Or perhaps she just saw all the signs but decided her former situation was too difficult to relieve, and through his abuse of me, she found stability and security she was seeking. So I became expendable, the throwaway child, the scapegoat. And true to the legacy, 9 months later, I was pregnant. He denied any wrongdoings and accused me of being promiscuous. And she believed, packed my bags and told me to leave. Alone and knocked up at the age of 16, betrayed and scared of what kind of life I could possibly bring to my child. What next? Would I resort to selling my body, or perhaps drugs, or align myself with a man that did? I wanted something different. Needed to be the one to break this carnitious, I cannot say that word.
Certitious.
Nothing.
I know.
Certitious.
Hot word.
Had to teach by example, show my child that I would protect them. I would teach them honor and respect and love. I would be the mother I never had, and through my sacrifice, the abuse would end. Woo!